We are nearly to the top of Kilimanjaro. It's just really amazing to look back down there and think they've managed to get us up this far. It's cold, it's just been incredible, and the sun's rising. Oh, I feel really amazing. I can't really describe. Guys are just absolutely incredible, and how lucky am I to be part of this experience. And I'm watching these other people come up the mountain, and everyone's facing their own challenges, and we're doing it together. It feels pretty special.
Zane and I really like travel, and our last trip was to South America, and it was a real adventure, and I felt like I was getting a bit older and not so adventurous, and I wanted to do something a little bit more adventurous before I couldn't do it anymore. And through our work, we've been working with a company in Israel who build trekking wheelchairs, and have built a relationship with Omar and Paratrek. And that night Omar sent us an email and said, "Hey you guys, crazy idea. Do you want to come and do a trek to Kilimanjaro next year?" And we kind of looked at each other and went, well, yeah, why not? So that was that. We said, yes, we're in. And then I didn't sleep for 3 days. I thought, oh no, what have I done? There's no toilet facilities on the trek. I don't know how my body's going to react to being in minus degrees. You know, I don't use my bladder and bowels the same way as other people, so what's that going to look like halfway up a mountain? All I could imagine was having to pee and hanging my butt out over the edge of somewhere in the freezing cold and getting frostbite in my nether regions, and just all of that was just far too, it was a bit much. So I kind of just went, you know, just like take it down a notch, do some research. The whole thing about toileting, you know, I've had to research how to use an indwelling catheter. What does that mean? Can I insert that myself? Does urine freeze in a bag? What the hell do you do if that happens? You know, like really unusual questions that I've never thought I'd have to research. And so I'm just working my way through that. I'm talking to nurses in the spinal unit. I'm talking to people who can help me think about thermoregulation when it's really cold. Talking to Paratrek and Omar and his team, the Tanzanian porters, and it just looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. On the first day, I was really anxious. But once we got on the bus and got going, it was kind of, well, we're done. There's no turning back now. I really didn't have any idea what it was going to be like. I kind of thought it would be like a bush walk through like an open field, maybe, in a meadow or something kind of romantic, but it was tough, like from the get-go. There were sections that were really steep, there were sections that weren't so steep, but that were really challenging with different levels and loose gravel and boulders and things. Bridges that were really little, the chair just fit through them. We just took a lot more time than what they probably estimated, so we ended up trekking in the dark. And that was very unique, and it was a bit scary. They had headlamps, and some of the terrain was insane. It was just, there was some really crazy inclines and just different types of terrain, because we were starting to come out of the rainforest, and to be walking in the dark when you really didn't know what was too far ahead of you, that was pretty scary. It was cold, it was really cold. And so we got to camp late. No matter how hard it got, it was just incredible to actually be there. It was amazing. And I wish that I could go back and tell my younger self that no matter how hard I thought life was going to be, that this would be an opportunity that I get to experience. And I don't think I would have believed myself. I loved horses, and I was visiting friends and riding some race horses doing track work. And one of them decided to go the other way from me, and I ended up underneath it. And so at that point I suffered a spinal cord injury. And so then I was 15 and I became a paraplegic. I think the moment that you're told that you're not going to walk again is kind of surreal. And I was young, and I don't think it really sunk in straight away. I remember I cried and I wanted my mum, and spent some time just thinking about what did that mean for my future. And then, you know, you're kind of robust as a young person, so you just get on and you're in rehab and there's lots of other people around you. And yeah, I think the impact of that didn't really hit me for quite a while. And then I was just determined that I wasn't going to miss out on anything. The days were getting steeper, and so we were seeing different terrain and less trees. You know, you were just starting to notice everyone struggling more with altitude. People were slower, people's reaction times were probably a little bit slower. And again, the Tanzanian crew, I don't know how they do it. Like, you know, they were barely breathing heavy and lifting me. You know, I was getting tired, and it sounds weird because I was sitting and wasn't doing much, but I think the tension, the anticipation, all of those emotions that I'd been experiencing since I'd left base at the start, it was kind of emotionally draining as well as taking a physical toll.
Lunch on the mountain. Delicious.
For the first time in a long time, I was scared of being out of my comfort zone. I was totally reliant on not only my friends and my husband that was there to help me in my personal care and getting in and out of bed and getting into the huts at that level, but also my life was in these 6 amazing Tanzanian porters' hands. I didn't have any capacity to be independent while I was trekking, and I kind of, you know, I liked to be in control of my own show, so that was really challenging for me to just be able to give myself over to trust. One of the mornings I woke up and I was just overthinking what was going to happen when we got to the top and the climb, and I got myself quite emotional and I was frightened basically. I was like, oh, I don't know what's going to happen. I was just a bit scared and feeling a little bit just doubtful about what had I done? Why was I doing this? And so in the morning when we got up and we had breakfast, we went to meet everyone at the start point, and the crew do this amazing energizer that
I think they do it for themselves as much as for us, where they sing and they dance. And they're just pure joy, and it's infectious. You cannot help but smile and want to get involved, and they're so good at how they do it. So all of a sudden you kind of forget the fear you have, or the concerns, or the aches, or the pain. And they are superhuman. These guys are just, you know, they're not the biggest, tallest, muscliest sort of looking guys, but they are so fit and so powerful and so committed to make sure everyone stays safe. -6 when we left. I had every single layer I could possibly have on. It was freezing. And then I went actually inside my sleeping bag, fully booted, fully kitted up. And then they gave me a hot water bottle as well. And in the dark, I could hear the gravel crunching and the rocks kind of falling a little bit by the wayside as we started to climb. And yeah, I just thought, I can't see, I can't control anything around me. And it was overwhelming. I don't think I've ever been that frightened. And then when we got to a point where they had a rest, the porters tapped me on the shoulder and they said, "Chris, look." I'll peel down the sleeping bag and they turned the chair slightly, and it was sunrise. It was beautiful. It was breathtaking. We got closer to the top and I unpeeled and I could see people at the top, and I could see the boulders, and like they were this big, just rocks everywhere, and every time they moved it would be turn the chair that way, turn the chair that way, because the scale of the incline was so steep you couldn't do it straight, and every time they turned I could hear rocks falling. And sometimes when the chair was going like that and I thought I'm going to fall, somebody's hand would come and hold me and steady me, and it was quite emotional, yeah. It's really overwhelming to think that they care to do that. I'll be forever indebted. It's an experience that I never thought I would have, and most people would think not possible, me included. I just don't think they realise the impact that makes on someone.
Benny. Ile wazi wa biskuti. Yeah? Mudi. Hawa nimeshikilia tu. Mudi. Ongea naye kwa namba.
Mount Kilimanjaro, we made it to Gilman's Point, 5,685 metres. Out there is a whole nother world, and I wouldn't have been able to do it without any of these people here. It's just incredible. I bawled like a baby and I'm so happy, but these guys are just, I can't even express how much I'm thankful. I was scared. I cried all the way up just about, and I had to keep my eyes shut because I was too scared to look. And I just actually don't know how they did it. It's just, yeah, I'm speechless. Like, I just really feel like I've achieved something, and I thought it would feel like I hadn't done anything because they did all the work, but I'm really proud of myself for pushing through the things I was scared to do. You can make me cry now. I've already cried enough. I think you can do anything you put your mind to. You just have to really face your fears and take it one step at a time. And literally this was one step at a time. But it's possible, and really you always are your own limits. What you think you can do more.
Shuka, ukiwa naenda, ukiwa narudi, ukiwa nashuka, ukiwa napanda,
and then we came into the camp, to the base. They just burst into this amazing celebration, and people that were already in the base camp were kind of like, come out to have a look what's happening. Because don't forget, there's like 60 of us in this group, and that's loud and joyous, and people really appreciated it as much as we did. It was such a celebration, and you do end up leaving on a real high with that. I wouldn't do it again, but I loved it. And it was certainly a challenge that I wasn't looking for, but I think I learned a lot about myself in that it's okay to be vulnerable, it's okay to ask for help and receive it. So I guess for me it was about just trying something and seeing how far I could allow myself to be challenged. Hopefully that's one of the lasting legacies of something like this experience, is just knowing in yourself that you can dig deep and you can push to do things that you just never thought were going to happen. You can do anything you want to do if you put your mind to it and you do the planning, and you just, being fearful helps you feel alive. And when you get over your fear and achieve something, it's an incredibly confidence-boosting experience that stays with you. And I think sometimes we get overwhelmed with things we can't do and we can't see the possibility. But you've just got to take that one step, because you never know what's around the corner, and something amazing might be just waiting for you to say yes.
Haiwezekani kama na mali wala mlima.